Now, let's talk about assignment in mutable sequence. So till now, we have seen that how to mutate a sequence using append, insert, extend, and we have also seen this in place concatenations. But mutable sequence also allow us to mutate the sequence by assigning a value, or you can also assign a slice object. Depending on how to specify the slice, what value we are passing, but what value we are inserting, we can modify and delete the sequence of the or like element of the sequence. Right? Here is what we do, or here is what happens when we do the standard slicing. Let's talk about first replacement. We can replace a slice of a sequence with any other iterable, like over here. We have this list, the ID is this. This is what we do when we slice a sequence object. We are slicing this object from 0 to 2, which is 1 2 3. Now let's try to replace this with this iterable object, and then let's try to check the ID. The ID is still same. In fact, since strings are iterable, we can also assign the string object like this list we have. So here we are assigning to 0 to 3, we are assigning the Python, and then we are getting this object over here. Let's talk about deletions. So deleting is a special case of replacement when we replace with the empty iterable. Like over here we have this list. We can delete a single element by defining a slice that select that specific element and replace with the empty iterable. Like over here, when we do so, L of 0 colon 1, this is giving me first one object, like this is giving me this object. And when we do so, we can do L of 0 colon 1 with the empty, we are replacing with the empty list. And then when we do this, L, like check the ID of this. So ID of this is still exist. So ID is still there, right? If we want, we can delete the multiple element using the same technique. Here, consider this. We have sliced these two objects, and now we are replacing this two object with the empty list. This is working. We can do that. We can also insert that, right? Again, consider that. Again, but here, when we replace a slice that contains an element from a sequence, we'll be replacing those elements over here. So consider that, let's say that we want to insert some element at the second positions. So here we have the list. So what we do is, we can slice this object with 1 colon 2. This is giving me 2. So we want to replace this 2, right? The problem is that if we assign something to that slice, to this slice, it will replace the second element. It will not replace the first element, but we want to replace the first element, right? First index element. So instead, what we have to do is we have to define the empty slice at that locations, right? At this locations, at this locations, and then we have to replace with that whatever value we want. Like over here, we can see that 1 colon 1, this will give me the empty string, like empty list. Now we can replace with this any value over here. Now this is pointing to the same location. This is pointing to this location now, right? Now we can do so. We can assign with ABC. We can check the ID. Here we can say that instead of 2, so we have inserted a new element, and then all this value has been pushed further. Now we can see that this list has been mutated. Now here is a side note with the immutable sequence. Of course, we know that immutable, we cannot mutate the immutable sequence. And if you try to do so, you'll get error. Right? Now we'll talk about the extended slice. That means we can even pass this, the step value. Like over here, we have this list. If we'll do so, we'll get 135. Right? Now we can replace this with ABC. and then we can get this. Instead of 135, now we are getting ABC, and again the ID is still same, the object is still same. It is, so again we have not changed the object has just mutated, right? But there is one thing that about assigning to the extended slice, that we must give the right. So again, whatever the right hand side you are passing, that has to be of same length. Like over here, if we'll do so, now here this slicing have the three element, right? But if I assign this slice to this two element, this will break. This will even break because it has a larger element compared. So we need specifically of the same length, right? So this means that we cannot even delete it. So we cannot assign with this empty list. This will even give me the error, right? Now on the right hand side, there can be any iterables. We have seen that. Like over here, we have this list. Now here we are passing this non-sequence type. So which is a set. We can pass this, and then we are getting this output. So yeah, this is it, all about assignment, or all about assigning into a mutable sequence data, right? Thank you very much.